Have you ever noticed this weird quality your mind's got? It doesn't just think what might go wrong, it always jumps to the worst possible scenario. You send a text to a friend who doesn't reply, and immediately your brain goes, they don't like me anymore, they're annoyed. A meeting gets moved at work, and suddenly there's something wrong, there's something fishy going on. And your mind has moved from thinking to disaster preparation. Now, here's the really weird thing. Your brain's not trying to torture you here, it's actually trying to help. I'm Steve Maher, I'm a best-selling author, accredited coach and a registered therapist, and I've helped hundreds of clients in over 3,000 hours of coaching sessions manage their minds better. Stay with me to the end of this video because I'm going to explain to you why your mind works like this and the trick I learned that changes everything. But before we go any further, let me tell you a personal story. You see, I had a very jumpy mind. Indeed, it was like I had a monkey trapped inside a cage inside my head, and the slightest thing would send this into overdrive. An unresponded WhatsApp message from a friend, a strange look from a stranger, or a sudden unexpected change of plan was enough to turn my monkey mind wild. I remember a particular time when I applied for a promotion at work a few years back. I was a junior manager at the time, and this would be a big step up for me. It meant everything to me to get this job because it'd mean more money, more status, and more enjoyable work. There was a lot riding on this. So I completed the application and hit the send button. And that's when the fun began. Because 1 day passed, 2 days passed, 3 days passed, no reply. Cue monkey mind. You see, in the absence of information, my mind and everybody's mind has got this amazing ability to fill the void with all sorts of stuff. They're not interested in me, they don't like me, I botched the application, that's not landed well, I'm not right for the job, maybe I'm not right for the company, maybe my career's over. Whoa, what's going on here? In reality, HR do not look at applications until the application date is complete, and the application date wasn't complete. But in my head it was. And my mind's done this to me hundreds of times. So why does our brain do this to us? Why does it always jump to the worst case scenario? And it's not about you being negative or lacking in confidence. It's actually a pattern of how the brain works. And if you don't understand this pattern, you tend to make a couple of mistakes. The first thing is you waste a lot of time, effort and energy worrying about needless things like, why has HR not replied to my application? A total waste of energy. The second thing is you start to try to replace these negative thoughts with positive ones. But what you're trying to do here is fight against the very thing that the very specific job that your brain is designed to do. You see, your brain's not here to keep you calm. It's here to keep you safe and to protect you. And from your brain's perspective, the worst case scenario is the most important scenario. Because if something could go wrong and you didn't think of it, that's a risk. You see, your brain does something really clever here. It fast forwards to the worst possible scenario and works back from there to stop it ever happening to you. So here's the big problem with this. You see, your brain doesn't just think about the worst case scenario, it actually simulates it. It creates images, it creates conversations, it creates consequences. And your body then responds as if it's actually happening right now. Now, this ability to simulate future events can be really useful, and it's used in sport a lot. If you think of athletes or golfers or footballers, they use a process called visualization to prepare for the big moments. What they do is they imagine running the 100 meters final in the Olympics and winning. They imagine hitting the winning putt to win the Open, or taking that penalty to win the World Cup. Visualization prepares the mind by putting the mind in the future situation, because if your mind's been there before, it tends to be much calmer in the moment. And unfortunately, worst case scenario thinking is like the opposite of positive visualization. Instead of feeling calm, you actually feel more anxious. Your chest tightens, your mind races, and your brain starts to generate a sense of urgency, even though nothing is actually happening. You're visualizing the worst case scenario, not reality. So what do most people do in this situation? Well, the thing is, your brain is a certainty-seeking machine, so they try to find certainty. So they keep rechecking their emails over and over again. Have they replied? Have they replied? They rehearse the conversation with the person over and over in their head. They seek reassurance where they can, and they plan every possible outcome. And they think they're being productive, but it's a trap. You see, every time you do something, you're training your brain. The more you do something over and over again, the better and faster your brain will become at doing that activity. And the more you think about the worst case scenario, the better you'll get at preparing for the worst case scenario. Now, you're probably asking the question, well, what can I do about this? Now, the shift is not to stop thinking about the worst case scenario. That's just not realistic. It's not how the brain works. The shift happens when you understand this, that these thoughts are signals to the brain to try and protect you. And when you understand this, you can start to change what happens next. Instead of reacting to that first thought that pops into your head, you're now armed with the knowledge that, my brain is trying to do its job. And you can start to ask a different question. Instead of, how do I fix this problem? You can actually ask the question, do I actually need to do anything? Would that be helpful, useful, and productive? Because most of the time, it's not. The phrase I quite often use with my clients is, you can't control your first thought, but you can decide or choose your second thought. And in reality, you are the actions that come out of your thoughts. And if you just react to your first thought, that becomes your reality. But if you take a breath and a pause between that first thought and then decide what happens next, you start to feel a lot more in control of your life. Now, here's a simple trick you can try next time your brain goes into worst case scenario thinking. Now, don't get into an argument and don't try and replace the negative thoughts with positive thoughts. Just notice what's happening and label it. This is worst case scenario prediction. This is my brain just trying to help me. Thank you, brain. Thanks for trying to help. And go back to what you can actually usefully and productively do. Go back to what you can actually control. This is not about getting into an argument with your brain. It's just making a choice not to get involved with everything it comes up with. Your brain will always come up with worst case scenario thinking. That's what it's there to do. But confidence, calm, and clarity doesn't come from trying to control these thoughts. It comes from the realization that I don't have to invest in every single thought that my brain comes up with. And that's when these thoughts will lose their grip over you. If this video resonated with you, why not like or leave a comment? What worst case scenario thinking does your mind come up with? For more practical ways to understand and manage your anxiety better, hit the subscribe button. Your brain is not trying to create problems for you, it's trying to protect you.